Hey guys, it's Ryan from Tropical Treks. I am here with Karen Yanik. Today we are going to be doing an episode about Florida Trail Angels. And let me start with what prompted me to do this interview. I recently watched a Pacific Crest Trail documentary, and it highlighted the need for trail angels, but it didn't highlight them. It didn't tell what they do and what they get out of it. It highlighted the hiker, and I felt a need to highlight the trail angel because without them and their trail magic, this wouldn't be possible. So, full disclosure, I reached out to Karen to do an interview with her, and I'm gonna let her take it away. So, Karen, briefly introduce yourself and tell me about your life in Florida.
All right. Well, everybody knows my name is Karen. I live in a little tiny town called Paisley. It's about an hour west of Daytona and north of Orlando on the southeastern tip of the Ocala National Forest. I'm actually smack dab in between Seminole State Forest and the Ocala Forest. So, unbeknownst to us, it turns out that it's a really popular spot to assist hikers when they transition from one forest to the next.
That's
I kind
awesome.
of stumbled on being a trail angel by accident. It was actually suggested by a friend of mine. I had no idea such a thing existed or there was a need for. So
Yeah.
I
So
started.
what
Yeah,
inspired you to do this?
um, it's a little selfish. It was an opportunity to justify spending more time in the forest.
Love it.
And the benefits have been I have met some of the most heartfelt, dedicated, caring people. You know, as an older lady, and I'm a little girl. I'm 5 foot tall. A lot of people thought I was a little nuts to be just ushering random people around in this forest all by my lonesome. But I've kind of decided if you have that much love for nature that you actually want to go out there and walk in it for hours a day, every day, you're probably not going to hurt a human, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you
So
on that. Some of
I've
the
had,
best people, yeah.
yeah, I've had absolutely wonderful, great experiences all the way around with just my first year. I didn't really get into doing the shuttling until late fall last year, like a little less than a year ago, kind of thing.
Awesome.
Um, it was kind of a blessing in disguise in a way because at that time my husband and I were caring for his mother who had dementia.
Yeah,
And if
so
anybody's dealt with that, that can be real challenging. And the opportunity, oh, I got to go do a shuttle and give me a break from the tenseness at home was actually pretty life saving for myself last fall.
oh, that's amazing to hear. So that's how you first started helping hikers in Florida?
Mhm.
Is it branched from that?
Yeah, it kind of started that about 3 years ago. A very good friend, but much younger than me, went out to Germany for 4 years for her bachelor's degree or master's degree. And she let me babysit her kayak. I knew nothing about it. And so I took my got my phone out and joined the local kayak page and announced that I had one I didn't know nothing about, but I lived in the forest and had a full wheel drive that I knew a lot about. And I introduced a yak and ride. I had 6 people show up with their full wheel drives that had never off roaded, and we did a small journey through the forest up to a local place to launch. And then they showed me how to do my kayaking.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
But then I got hooked onto shuttling at Juniper Springs, and that's really when things started to broaden for me. I actually had some absolutely accomplished, lovely ladies escort me down the Juniper run because word got out the shuttle gal never did that run before. I couldn't offer one point of hint for these kayakers on what to look out for or what it's like at all because I'd never been. I've been now, and it was well worth the journey.
Oh, well that's awesome. And that leads me into my next question is give me a memorable or even one, two, give me a memorable experience you've had with, being a trail angel on the trail or with a hiker, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I'd love to hear.
So many experiences in just a short, like I was saying, maybe mid-October last year until the tapering off of earlier this year. Husband and I reflected a lot on some of our adventures with the hikers over this past weekend, and I think by far our favorite as a couple was last February, we had that first rainy weekend of the first weekend in February. Well, as I'd mentioned earlier about my husband's mom, she had passed away on February 1st. And I had seen on the Trail Hikers page that somebody was looking for a place to be for this weekend because it was going to rain. And ultimately, we housed three hikers that did not know each other. Ironically, it was two guys and a gal, and that happens to be what our adult children are. So it was a little bit of a flashback to when we had kids at home. We're empty nesters, obviously.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They were great. They swam in our lake. They binged watched all of my husband's Rick and Morty episodes and did their laundry. And my husband's the cooker of the two of us. And so I bet they gained 5 pounds each that weekend. They did nothing but lay around and because it's raining, they can't go outside and play, lay
Yep.
around and eat and watch TV all weekend. It was just so fun. The weather let up a little bit, and I've got a picture of them all sprawled out on the dock, basking in what little sun there was that day. And I put them back on the trails. Well, we put the two guys back on the trails Monday morning. The girl was going to stay one more night. And as we were making our way to the trail where the gentleman wanted to go, I see a man. I actually see the backpack walking down the road first. He's so hunched over that his backpack is sticking up higher than he should be, you know? And so I quickened, we're on a dirt road. I quickened my pace a little bit and stopped to ask the man if he needed any help. And I didn't even have to finish to realize that he was in true dire straits. He needed help really bad. He'd left the trail and got on this road hoping that somebody would come by. And I drive a Jeep Gladiator pickup truck. I've got, four adults in the cab of it and two, long weekend or long term backpacks. These backpacks, you've seen the size of some of the
Yeah.
packs they carry. And I'm thinking, where am I going to put this man? And he's an older man. So the guys got out of the Jeep and they helped rearrange the backpacks on the floor in the bed of the pickup. And the man just sprawled out on the bed and just we gave him a bottle of water and he's like pouring it on himself. He's just
Oh my
so
God.
elated to be off the trail and getting some water in him. And I brought him up to the 88 store where he was heading to, and he was just oh so grateful. So it's just real rewarding when you get to, be that superhero or give that hiker that ticket that they need. I cry, I get emotional when I see them putting their hand on that monument or whatever you want to call it at
Yep.
the end of the trail because I feel like maybe if
They're
I
part of
didn't
it.
do what I did for them, they might not have made it.
You're
Maybe they just
exactly
needed to
right.
catch their breath or have that phone call to home. Or one of them, a guy was hiking and he lived way up in the northeast and northwest part of the state, and his wife came here so they could do a dinner date and get an Airbnb, and then she went home and he went back on the trail. So it was neat to just make that family reuniting happen, because it's
Uh,
got to be lonely out there sometimes.
that's awesome. So it's like you're helping them, but emotionally, they're helping you as well. It's like sense of
Exactly.
completeness. That's awesome. So
One of the first shuttles that I did, this gentleman was very chatty about where he was from. He'd never been to Florida. He'd never hiked in Florida, and it's May. And I'm just thinking, this guy's not wrapping reality here at all.
no,
And I might be jumping ahead a little bit,
you're
but
fine. We're catching up.
my trail magic is Swamp Lily. Um, my Jeep. Everybody,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people were elated to have their first and only Jeep ride or just think it's cool to get to ride in a Jeep. I'll offer them the opportunity to take the longer way to their trailhead and give them a little taste of the forest through the Jeep's
Oh, that's amazing.
perspective. And that's been a lot of fun.
Oh, that's amazing. I'll definitely put a picture of the Jeep up with this, just so we can.
Awesome.
I seen a picture you sent it to me. It looks pretty cool. I'll have to check that
Mhm.
out. So, how do you think you got into it a little bit, but I like the fact that like dive a little bit deeper into like how you help that person, like what you think on like their end. Like, how do you think you help hikers in their journey? Like, obviously we know that hikers get from A to B and backpackers and this and that, but
Yeah.
like just like you said, they couldn't do it probably without you. And I would assume I've backpacked myself. I know hundreds of backpackers who have done it, and I can attest to this. This is why we're here today. Is I couldn't have done the things that I've done, and my friends and my clients couldn't have done the things that they've done without people like you. So highlight that a little bit more.
Hmm. Well, I think sometimes it's nice for the family of the hikers to know that there's somebody local looking out for their kids back. Most hikers are much younger than me, so I refer to them as kids. I've had that occasional few that are my age or older, but most of them are younger than me. Um, some ladies they hike alone, and I just make sure that they know I'm there for them. Back when I was starting to talk about the guy that was going to hike for the very first time in May in Florida, I off the whim created what I call my free tap out service. If you've realized that you've bit off more than you could chew, you're feeling slightly under the weather, maybe you've got even a minor injury and you can't press on. Don't overdo it. Don't let me read about some hiker having a bad experience in the woods. Give me a shout. I don't care time of day or night. I will come and get you and bring you where you need to be.
Oh, I love that and appreciate that so much, and I'm sure everybody does as well. That's amazing. Uh, so with all that being said, what's some advice you would give a backpacker that's in Florida or even in general that that you've seen that's a common thing, or just advice like, hey, I see, people aren't carrying enough water, or just what's some advice that you would give to somebody to make it from A to B better?
Planning is crucial and not underestimating the heats in Florida, especially if they're not local. Even in early seasons, March, April, and as early as or as late in the year as still October and November, the heat can be a serious factor in wearing somebody out quicker than they anticipated. So
Are you
that would
seeing
be
a
my
lot of
big
that? You're
thing
seeing
is
a lot of like dehydration and just not a lot of
um,
water.
and especially, it seems like we've all been seeing in the news the flooding that lots of the state of Florida is suffering from. Well, it's not the case here in Ocala National Forest. It is still very dry. Yeah, we're getting some water, and there's some water in those mud holes we like to drive our Jeep through, but there's not significant good clean water in it. Anybody that knows Ocala would
Yeah.
know that. Ocala's nickname is the desert of the South for a reason.
Yes. What a beautiful
So
place. Yes.
I will be. I still haven't purchased my sections of the far out app that I would shuttle in, but I do plan on doing that. And I also plan on planting water caches and labeling them on the far out app.
Oh
And
man, that'll be a lifesaver.
we will be putting our info about what we as trail angels, showers. I can take you to the grocery store. I can give you a dry bed to sleep in, that sort of thing. So we'll be, because last year was my first year, with all that was going on with my mom. Our mom, we just kind of jumped into it, and I was so ill prepared, but somehow managed to ace it through my first season
Yep.
of being a trail angel.
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely making some more tweaks and whatnot to be better prepared for this next upcoming season.
Well, that sounds amazing. And with that being said, lastly, just promote yourself. Tell people, if they need you, where can they find you? What do you offer? And tell us what you got moving forward.
Okay, well, I am on social media. Facebook is primarily what I use. I have profiles on others, but Facebook is the one that I use the most. I am the founder of LGBTQ plus and allies off-roading. I do host rides in the Ocala National Forest. I will also offer individual forest tours for those that might be overwhelmed with a larger group ride. So I'm always, again, I feel a little selfish, but I'm always looking for excuses to spend in that forest and share it with other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that sounds amazing. And I could tell just for conversing with you myself in this short amount of time, definitely the next time I'm in the area, I know which way I'm going to get. I'm taking the Jeep tour. So,
There you go.
I'll be giving you a call, and definitely, if anybody else listening or watching, if you're in the area, give Karen a shout out if you need anything. So Karen, it was a pleasure speaking with you. And I can't wait to. I'm so glad you wanted to do this here today, just so we can highlight more of what's really important and really the experience and a lifeline that's needed. So I thank you for your time and everything that you do for all of this community.
I did want to give a special shout out to Stephen Blueberry for recommending me to do this. That was a huge honor because he's been doing this many, many, many years. And one more story that I forgot to mention, specifically involving him.
Oh, let's hear it.
I believe the lady's name that he often hikes with is Brenda. So forgive me if I'm wrong. But I had him and his hiking companion in the Jeep, and we were actually out laying water caches for their hike for later in their hike. And my sister messages me and lets me know that there is a local off-roader stuck in a hole not far from where we were in the forest laying this cache. So this shuttle ends up turning into a recovery shuttle. And they were just troopers and watching me do what I got to do to hook this pickup truck up and get it pulled out of the mud. And it was just such a cool experience to kind of combine, a few different activities in the forest. I'm probably one of the most known recovery people out here as well.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, another shout out to another Facebook page is S.O.S Stuck in Florida. You get your rig stuck out in that forest, and somebody on that page will come and help you for free.
What an awesome resource, Steve. We thank you. I thank you for the recommendation. And guys, check out both of those pages. Karen, it's been a pleasure, and we will talk soon.
All right, take care. Thanks again, Ryan. Bye.
Bye.